starting earlier this week, and now you got to rely on the two backs, and maybe, just maybe, J-Rock, you and I will get to see our boy Glenn Winston, see if he can get a couple of carries.
No, I'm good. No, I haven't mentioned this earlier in the week. I've got no interest in seeing the third running back get running back rotation carries right now because we just had 3 running backs. I would prefer that we deal with the 2, and if we need to give them a blow, then you can hand it off to the fullback once or twice a game. But Winston's going to suit up, but he's not going to play. He'll play special teams. He'll be there if they need him. He'll be live. He'll be able to play if need be. So if Crow or West get banged up, he will be able to go. But yeah, you can't force carries to a third guy again. That was what caused the whole issue. I would much rather, I know you can't break it down 50-50. I'd love to see them both 20 to 25 carries this Saturday or Sunday, excuse me. I'd like to see both of those guys get a big chunk of carries, whether you want to, however you want to rotate them. I know that you go with the feel, but last week I was telling some guys, I'm like, man, I'd really love to you got strong guys that hammer them on maybe not every series, but rotate them by the quarter. Find a rotation that is a winning one, not because you're trying to be fair, but because you're trying to bring the hammer. And just as one guy is getting wore down, bam, here comes a fresh hammer, and he's hitting you in the head again, and then by the fourth quarter, they're tired of getting smashed in the mouth by these two backs who are staying fresh by rotating. That is where they're going to end up. You can see it. You got, Baby Mac and Biner coming here, and so I'd love to see them get 20, 25 carries apiece and really lock in together this weekend.
I couldn't agree with you anymore, J-Rock. We'll get into the Dawg Bones here in a little bit, but to build on what you're saying, you kind of wish it was like the Madden video game where you could hit the R1 button and make the quick substitution, and get that rotation for the running, for the running back. So, yeah, I do agree with you. The Browns need to pound the ball.
Yeah, and they'll continue, and that's where I think Josh Gordon helps the most. I keep saying it. To me, what he brings you offensively is a bonus because what he's going to bring you is a change in the way teams defend you. So that right there is going to open things up a bit. And then it'll be up to Shanahan because that's only going to last for so long because then if teams realize that you're only using Gordon as a decoy, then they'll stop reacting accordingly. And then so it'll be up to Shanahan to use that. But I fully expect for the first game or two that Gordon's back until teams figure out exactly how the Browns are going to use him. They're going to defend him like he's a major part of the offense.
Yeah, I think Josh Gordon is going to be a decoy for the most part. And I think if there's ever any shots to take downfield, I think they will. But I agree with everything you're saying. It's having Josh Gordon on the field. Somebody has to be accountable for him on the other side.
This, man, I see it coming over the top. I keep saying it, and I know people are like, yeah, whatever. Back in the day when receivers would be out for a week or two or whatever, Bernie used to love, if it was Webster's first week back or whatever, first play of the game. Go deep, go over the top, give him a big shot, even if he didn't get it. Lets the defense know I'm coming for you, and it lets that guy know, welcome back, let's have some fun. And I could see the same thing, happening. I could see right away, first play, just to say, hey, he's here and we're going for him. I could see a play action down the field going for Josh Gordon, whether it connects or not. It's just that's the old mentality. But do you remember? I'm telling you, Bernie used to love that, man. He used to get mad. That's why he would get into fights with the coaches because he would always want to start games that certain way, going downfield. No, we're going to script it. No, man, But anyways, drawing up plays in the dirt. But he used to like that when guys would come back in, going after him right away because you instantly now have put that in the mind of the other team. So I think first play, maybe the first pass play, I'll say. Maybe it won't be the very first offensive play, but I see him going for Gordon and getting it going right off the bat just to put that instantly in the Falcons' head.
J-Rack, I would love to see that. Bernie used to call those jugular plays. And what I guess my thing with Josh Gordon is if Jason Campbell and Brandon Whedon can take Gordon over the top, then there's no reason why the Browns can't do it on Sunday with Hoyer versus the Falcons. So
well, they did it before. Those two had a good connection last year in their 2 games and less than a quarter together. I mentioned it yesterday. They had 14 completions, 300-plus yards, and obviously the good one was that first game in Minnesota there when Hoyer came in. So he admitted this week that he was going for. He said, "Look, man, I was getting my opportunity, and you got a guy out there that you know can catch the ball, so we're going for him." And I focused on him a lot in those first 2 games, but he did show that they have a connection. So I think you'll see it, man. I'm telling you, I think that they go for it early. Again, other than that, I think Gordon's a decoy most of the game, and I think he probably plays a third of the offensive snaps at most.
Jarek, you there?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Like I told you, I got this new phone and I can't hear.
I know how that is, man. But yeah, I think he plays about 20 maybe a third of the plays at most.
Yeah, I agree. I think Josh Gordon, he's not much of a run blocker, so when you do run the ball, maybe you can keep him on the field sometimes. But Josh Gordon, I see getting 20 snaps and maybe 5 or 6 targets this game. So I think you're right. I think at the end of the day, this is his first game back. Let's see how much rust he has, and let's see. If somebody has to be accountable for him, they have to be aware of where he's at, and if that helps the Browns, then so be it. If it doesn't, then you got 5 more games. So
I'll tell you what I think is funny is that people act like listen. I get it that you're going to have some rust, but some people act like 10 games off for Josh Gordon. He's coming on like he's the senior citizen coming on, and people hold out hope that 50-year-old Jason Giambi can still hit a home run from time to time because he can because he's got the little bit of pop in the bat. So it trips me out that some of the same Cleveland fans that'll watch Jason Giambi meander up to the plate and hopefully hit that once in every 3-month home run. And I love Jason Giambi. I'm using him as a specific example for a reason. And then they'll sit there and go, yeah, well, Josh Gordon doesn't impact the football game. Yeah, if he didn't impact the football game, people wouldn't have spent all summer, not just in Cleveland, but nationally, wondering when he was going to be allowed to play again. Let's just be real. He is definitely a playmaker, but it's a matter of, and I think this is more for future weeks, is whatever you give him this week, how does he feel on Tuesday and then bounce back? It'll take a couple of weeks for that. But I'll say the same thing I say about LeBron James. The kid's what? How old is he now? Do you really think he has a hard time waking up out of bed after going a few weeks without playing football? Seriously? I mean, come on, man. These are young, strong, athletic men. And while he will have to shake some rust off, he can still play some ball. Come on, man.
Yeah. Josh Gordon, to me, I made the mistake a week ago of thinking that for Josh coming back, it's going to be like Calvin Johnson or A.J. Green when Cincinnati and Detroit used them as decoys, but they were coming off an injury. Josh Gordon is coming off a suspension, should have fresh legs. I mean, we'll see, J-Rock, but I think Josh Gordon will have some sort of impact on the game, whether or not it's in the stat book. I don't know. That remains to be seen.
Well, you want to do the thing or what?
Yeah, let's get into it. So, you hit it right on the bone. You hit the first dog bone right on the head, and dog bone number 1 is dominate the Falcons' front 7. Like Jeff Gordon and you talked about, Atlanta's defense is bad. The reason that they have a losing record is because of their defense. The running lanes should be there for the Browns' rookie backs. I think the Browns need to take a page out of Houston's book, and this is what I mean by you hitting it right on the head. I had 50 carries. Houston ran the ball against the Browns 54 times last week, J-Rock. They ran it right down Cleveland's throat. And on the year, the Falcons are giving up 122 yards a game. So I think the yards are going to be there. I look for this being a big game. The Browns have a lot of athletic offensive linemen. So being on turf, I look for this being a big game for Joe Bitonio. I think the Browns can open up the lanes. I think you got to dominate the Falcons front seven and run the ball right down the throat. Take a page out of what the Texans did to us last week. And things are going to come along with that, like the third down conversions. In the Browns' two horrible losses this season that were very similar to each other, the Texans and the Jags, the Browns were 4 of 17 on third down conversions against the Jags and 3 of 15 against the Texans. If you're able to run the ball and run it down their throat, just like the Texans did to the Browns last week, I think you're going to see more third and manageable. So, Dawg Bone number 1 for sure is dominate the Falcons front seven, run this ball down their throat. Falcons are giving up the 122.2 yards per game, and the last week's 2.4 yards per carry or per attempt for the Browns ain't going to cut it this week. Dawg Bone number 1, dominate the Falcons defensive front seven.
Curious, I just wanted to ask you your thoughts on this, man. I just, knowing human psychology and knowing how that takes a part in things and sports and all of that stuff too, looking at the situation with the running back this week, you got to think. Now, look, you can have the greatest intentions. You can have the greatest intentions in the world. But what I'm saying is going out there and actually doing it. West and Crow, they inadvertently, and through no fault of their own, ended up in a bit of the spotlight because of Ben Tate being taken out, and now it's their show, which the Browns were already making it their show anyway. My point being, don't those guys, and I would think if I'm Terrence West, and plus I've already got a chip because I want to be the man in the NFL and I'm a rookie and I'm trying to prove myself anyway, but you got that much more motivation this week to go out there and run the rock a little bit harder and churn those legs a little bit harder because you got the added wanting to say, hey, you guys made the right decision. You guys made a good move because the team showed, hey, we're going with you guys, young bucks. So get ready to get out there and play some ball. So I think you may see a bit of a pickup in the running game from that as well, just because you got two young guys going hard. Now that could lead to over aggressiveness, maybe turnovers, but you got two young go-hards that are going to be out there trying to show that the Browns made the right move by letting Ben Tate go.
Yeah, and to go off what you're saying there, it's negative energy too. The last couple of weeks, obviously, Ben Tate's production has declined, and there's got to be some negative. There's got to be some negative feelings or negative energy that Tate is giving off, because you don't sign, a high-end free agent like Ben Tate for 2 years and then cut him, halfway through the season or more than halfway through the season to play two rookies. And so obviously something happened on the inside that we don't know about. Obviously Ben Tate was unhappy. You could read between the lines. But just the fact that he's not there anymore, maybe there's no negative energy, and maybe that'll help them or make them play harder as well, knowing that they don't have to look over their shoulders to see Ben Tate,
who should have been looking over his shoulder at them young fellas all along, man.
Exactly.
All right.
Exactly.
And I'm with you. That's how the Browns are going to do it, because you really do. I don't think the Browns want to get into a track meet with a team that's built for playing in the dome. Obviously, they have advantages in the speed game. So you're going to go back and forth scoring, but as you said, at the end, you have to, whether you want to match them in the first half or not, come down the stretch in the fourth quarter, you've got to extend a drive, you got to run the ball, you got to take time off the clock, and there's going to be a point in time where you're going to not want to give the ball back to the Atlanta Falcons offense. So the running game, huge. To me, that's how the Browns win. They can put 500 yards through the air all they want, but they're going to win this game even if it comes down to just one drive running the ball. That's where they're going to win this game. If they win it, that's where they win it.
Yeah, absolutely, J-Rock. Dawg Bone number 2, find the 20-plus yard chunk plays. Despite the awful performance against the Houston Texans, Brian Hoyer is still third in the NFL in passing plays of 20 yards or more, J-Rock. These Falcons are giving up 403 yards per game through the year. That's dead last in the NFL. These opportunities are going to be there for